We may have moved on, but the essence of what we shared remains. Legally, you belong to me, even if you've forgotten the love we once had. The truth of our connection is eternal, even in the quietest moments when it seems like all is lost. Though the years have passed and the seasons have changed, legally, you still belong to me. Our connection doesn't fade, even if your memories do. The essence of what we had lingers, like a fragrance that never fully dissipates. You may try to forget, but there's a part of me that will always be with you. Legally, you belong to me, not in the physical sense, but in the sense that we've shared something no one else can take away. Our bond is sealed in time. There are moments in life that shape us, even when we no longer remember them. Legally, you belong to me, and although your thoughts may have changed, the emotions we once shared are still within you. You may have forgotten, but I haven't. It's strange how life takes us down separate paths, but legally, you are still mine. Even if you've moved on, even if you've forgotten what we once had, I still carry you with me in ways you may never fully understand. Even if the memories fade and the emotions cool, legally, you belong to me. The moments we shared were never just fleeting. They are etched into the fabric of our lives. You may have forgotten, but I still carry that connection with me. Time doesn't change everything. Legally, you still belong to me, even if the years have made you forget. The feelings we once shared are still there, waiting to be rediscovered, like a treasure hidden deep within. You might think that moving forward means forgetting the past, but legally, you belong to me. The truth is that we're forever tied by the experiences we shared, even if the details have faded from your mind. That bond never truly disappears. Even if the years have passed and the emotions have cooled, the truth remains. Legally, you belong to me in ways that go beyond what you can see or feel. You may have forgotten, but our connection is deeper than mere memories. Though you may walk away, the bond between us is unbreakable. Legally, you belong to me, even if you've forgotten the reasons why. Time may have changed your feelings, but it hasn't altered the truth that we are linked forever. Our story doesn't end with forgotten memories. Legally, you belong to me, and though you may not recall the moments we shared, they are still a part of you. The heart remembers what the mind tries to erase. Though you may not feel it now, you belong to me, not just in the legal sense, but in every fiber of who we were. Time might have changed you, but it can't erase the bond we forged. You may have forgotten, but I remember. In a world where everything changes, there are some things that stay the same. Legally, you belong to me, and no matter how far you go or how much time passes, that truth will always remain. You may have forgotten, but our bond hasn't weakened. There are moments in life that define us, even if we forget them. Legally, you belong to me, and though time may have dulled your memory, it hasn't erased the connection we once shared. That bond is eternal, no matter how much you change. Even though you may have forgotten the specifics of what we had, you still belong to me. Legally, we are bound, and the emotional ties we once had are not so easily erased. Time may blur the details, but the truth remains. Legally, you belong to me, even if you've forgotten everything that once felt so real. The connection between us wasn't just in the moments we shared, it was in the way we understood each other without words. That bond is still there. Sometimes, the things that mean the most are the ones we forget first. But legally, you still belong to me. The bond between us wasn't just a passing moment. It's embedded in who we are, in ways you can't fully comprehend. Even if the feelings have faded, legally, you belong to me. The love we once shared hasn't disappeared. It lingers, quietly waiting for the day you remember all the things you've forgotten. That truth can never be erased. Time may have altered the way you feel, but it hasn't changed the fact that legally you belong to me. You may have forgotten, but the connection between us hasn't loosened. It remains steadfast and strong, even in your absence. There are no easy ways to forget someone who once meant everything to you. Legally, you belong to me, and even if you've moved on, the love we shared is still a part of you. Time may have faded the memories, but it hasn't erased the bond. Life may try to distance us, but legally, you are still mine. The things you've forgotten, the emotions you've buried, they are still a part of who you are. Our connection transcends time, and no matter how much you try to forget, I will always be there. Even in the depths of time, when memories fade and emotions soften, there is a thread that ties us together. Legally, you belong to me, not just in the technical sense of contracts or papers, but in the shared experiences and promises we once made. You may have forgotten, but the connection still lingers, like a whisper in the wind. Time may have altered the way you feel, but legally, in the eyes of the world, you are still mine. Our bond is sealed not by mere ink, but by the intangible moments that once defined us. Even if you've moved on, even if the memories are blurred, the truth remains. You are a part of my soul. It's strange how life works. You may think that distance or time can erase the significance of our connection, but legally, you still belong to me. The heart knows things that the mind tries to forget, and the ties that bind us remain, even if you can't remember them clearly. In a world that often changes too quickly, our bond is the one thing that stands still. Legally, you belong to me, but more than that, you belong to the pieces of my heart you once held so tenderly. Even if you've forgotten, our connection is etched deep within us both. Though you may no longer recall the exact moments we shared, there's a truth that remains undeniable. You are still mine in ways you can't fully understand. Legally, you belong to me, but it's the heart that keeps reminding us of a bond that doesn't fade with time. You may walk through life with a sense of freedom, unaware of the invisible threads that still link us. Legally, you belong to me, though you may have forgotten why. The feelings we shared, the promises we made, they don't disappear. They quietly wait for the moment when you remember. Sometimes, life leads us in different directions, and memories blur over time. But legally, you belong to me, whether you recognize it or not. In the deepest corners of your heart, there's a place where I still reside. You may not remember it now, but it hasn't vanished. The passage of time might have caused you to forget, but legally, the bond between us hasn't shifted. You belong to me, not just in the legal sense, but in the silent spaces where our love once lived. Even now, my thoughts of you are ever present, waiting for you to remember. Our connection doesn't end with your memory. Legally, you belong to me, and no matter how far you wander, you are still held by the invisible ties of the past. The feelings might be dormant, but they're still there, like echoes waiting to be heard again. The love that once connected us may seem distant, but legally, you still belong to me, even if you no longer feel the same. The essence of what we shared is still part of who you are. Time may change the way we remember, but it doesn't erase what was. You may try to forget, but there are moments in life that never truly leave us. Legally, you belong to me, and while the details may blur over time, the connection that once sparked between us remains. Even in the quietest moments, it lingers. It's funny how time works. You may have moved on, but legally, you still belong to me. The heart doesn't forget what the mind tries to erase. Even if your memories fade, our bond remains etched in the deepest parts of you. Even though the years have passed and you might not remember all that we shared, legally, you are still mine. You may not feel it now, but there's an unspoken connection between us that time can't erase. It's the unbroken thread that ties us together, even in silence. The world might tell you to forget, to move on, but legally, you belong to me. It's a connection that goes beyond time and memory. The feelings we once had may be distant, but they're still within you, waiting to resurface when the moment is right. In the vastness of the universe, some bonds transcend time and distance. Legally, you belong to me, even if you no longer remember how. The moments we shared may have been fleeting, but their impact is eternal, like a mark left upon your soul. You may have forgotten, but my heart has not. Legally, you belong to me, not in the sense of ownership, but in the sense that we are part of each other's stories. Time can alter memories, but it can never erase the emotional ties that once bound us. It's strange how the mind works. It tries to forget, to let go, but deep down, you know the truth. Legally, you belong to me, and though you may not remember why, the connection between us is as strong as it ever was. Time hasn't changed that. In the labyrinth of life, some paths cross and leave indelible marks on us. Legally, you belong to me, and while you may not recall the details, the bond remains. You're a part of my past, and that connection cannot be forgotten, even if you try.